Discover how this incredible black woman's courage saved a billionaire from an unthinkable fate. Angela Thompson bustled through the vibrant streets of Atlanta, her heart racing in rhythm with the city's beat. Juggling orders as a waitress and stocking shelves at the grocery store, this 34-year-old powerhouse juggled more than just her busy schedule. Every moment drove her closer to the dream her late mother had planted in her heart, a dream that fueled her desire to lift the people around her as she climbed the ladder of life. As she maneuvered through the throngs of people, kids in tow, she couldn't shake that feeling, a crackling hope that her strength would someday bear fruit for her two little ones, freeing them from the struggles of her own childhood. In contrast, across the city, billionaire tech mogul Carter Thompson faced a different fight. The walls of his opulent mansion felt like a prison, isolating him from the bustling world outside. Once hailed for groundbreaking innovations, he was now a target, his empire under siege from a rival brokered by envy. When friends turned their backs, leaving him chasing echoes in that marble corridor, his heart ached. Who could he trust when the money he thought could shield him wasn't enough? His laughter had grown hollow, overshadowed by a creeping loneliness. Fates intertwined during a community tech initiative aimed at bridging the digital divide. Angela's path crossed with Carter's team, igniting a spark of determination inside her upon learning about his impending downfall. Her heart raced, not out of fear, but out of a fierce instinct honed by hardship. Yes, they lived in different worlds, but her mother always said, "Strength lies in lifting others." With clarity, Angela decided she would help Carter. The thought of lending a hand thrummed through her. As Angela worked diligently to connect the dots, whispers echoed of the rival schemes, growing louder and threatening to shatter the fragile peace. The challenges they faced were immense. Every misstep multiplied scrutiny, every judgment weighed heavily, a dual storm of socio-economic struggles pushing against both of them. Were they really so different beneath each label placed upon them? This can't be how it ends. Angela's breath hitched as she pieced together the web of deceit aimed at Carter. With steady determination, she wound through the chaos, uncovering treacherous plans designed to expose his flaws. Digging deeper, she found herself standing before him, a mix of tension and courage swirling between them. The moment weighed heavy, she stood strong, her voice steady yet emotional. "This isn't just about you. It's about all of us, every person judged by their bank balance or skin color. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Carter's eyes widened, realizing the depth of her insights. At that moment, both faced a formidable truth: money and status meant nothing without genuine connection. Fueled by a profound urgency and undeniable bond, they vowed to dismantle the barriers holding them back, both from their dreams and their communities. The clock ticked, the rival's scheming loomed ever closer, and for Angela and Carter, a final, diabolical move was imminent. Would they find the strength to rise above it all, redefining their paths before it was too late? Anxiety clung to the air, but courage glimmered like a sliver of hope. What would come next, as they both stood on the precipice of everything they believed in? Angela inhaled sharply, the weight of their decision packing her chest like bricks. Standing before Carter, she felt an undeniable tension, but also a thrilling rush of purpose pulsing through her veins. We can't just sit here. We need to act. Together, she urged, determination shining in her eyes. Carter nodded slowly, still reeling from the conviction of her words. They weren't just brainstorming ideas anymore, this was a battle cry. You're right. If we're going to uncover their plans, we need to gather more information, and quickly. His mind spun with thoughts of what they'd need to do next. They had to infiltrate the rival company, find evidence of the schemes that were about to be unleashed upon him. We'll need a team, Angela replied, feeling the adrenaline surge through her. Let's bring in people who know the ins and outs of the tech industry. They're already on edge about everything, and if we show them they're not alone in this, we might restore their hope. Just saying it made her heart race faster. Hope, that fragile thread that so easily frayed, yet tethered them all together. With a newfound resolve, they enlisted the help of their community, calling on those who understood the tech landscape and were passionate about bridging the digital divide. They gathered at a local coffee shop, the buzz of conversation filling the air as Angela and Carter laid out their plan. Faces lit with curiosity shifted to intensity as their stories blended together, a diverse tapestry of shared struggles and dreams. The hours ticked by, and Angela felt herself energized, inspired watching the group unite. Every smile shared, every laugh pulled them closer to their goal. They mapped out their strategy, creating a whirlwind of hope where doubt once danced. Conversations sparked ideas, initiatives unfurled, each one pushing through boundaries, much like the very challenges they each inhabited. But beneath the surface, a nagging anxiety churned in Angela's stomach. They were hat against powerful forces, and just as they began to build momentum, whispers of danger crept in. She knew that time was slipping away, each tick of the clock echoing louder like a heartbeat echoing through empty streets. What if they find out what we're doing? She posed, glancing between Carter and their new allies. We risk everything by standing up to them. Carter leaned in, unwavering. We've already lost everything by staying silent. We have to stand together. We can't let them take that from us, too. His eyes glimmered with an intensity that ignited sparks in the hearts of the group, and they braced themselves for the uncertainty that lay ahead. Days bled together as they chased the mounting pressure against them. They worked late into the nights, sharing laughs that lightened their load but also heavy with anticipation. There was no going back now. The rival was getting nervous, their plans were slipping, and pressure to contain the uprising mounted. As they cloaked themselves in secrecy, Angela couldn't shake the feeling that a storm was brewing. With every breakthrough they made, every small victory, danger lurked just beyond their perception. And as much as they had forged connections that would elevate their cause, there were still shadows creeping, ready to strike. Tonight, they were gathering for a final conversation before they would unveil what they had learned. Each face in the small room reflected not only readiness, but also the fear of the unknown. We've come too far to turn back now, Angela spoke, though her voice trembled. They were on the brink, where dreams coalesced with reality. As the conversation thickened with intensity, the phone rang, piercing through the air and snapping attention towards it. Carter picked it up, his forehead creasing with worry. On the other end, a voice cold enough to chill the room. You've been meddling in matters far beyond your understanding. Step back or face the consequences. Angela's breath hitched. The threat was real, and the storm was here. What will we do? She whispered as the words turned the energy from hopeful to weary. With a steely resolve, Carter met her gaze. We go forward. Together. Both felt the floor tremble beneath them as they dove into this conflict. Would they emerge stronger, or would the unraveling keep them trapped in shadows? Each of them was a warrior now, caught in an impending fight beyond their dreams. Would hope be enough to guide them through the chaos, or would fate once again step in with an unexpected twist? Angela paced the room, her mind racing as the echo of the voice hung heavy in the air. The impending threat ignited a fire in her belly, sparking the fight-or-flight response deep within. She could feel the tension coiling in the pit of her stomach, but instead of retreating, she leaned into it, her resolve hardening. The room was silent, every gaze glued to Carter, who was clutching the phone with a grip that turned his knuckles white. They think they can intimidate us, he said, his voice low but laced with determination. But we're not going to back down. We just need to be smarter. Angela nodded, her heart racing at the prospect of the unknown. This can't just be about us anymore. We have to be the voice for everyone who is afraid to speak up. This is bigger than just tech, it's about our community. It's about fighting against oppression. She felt the spark of hope reignite, charging through the collective energy in the room. Carter initiated the brainstorming again. They had built a team filled with fierce minds, and it was time to harness that power. Alright, let us turn this threat into our fuel. What do we know about their operations? One of their allies, Mariah, spoke up with fervor. I've been tracking their social media activities. They're getting more aggressive about discrediting us. If we can expose their strategies, it could turn the tide in our favor. A ripple of excitement coursed through them. They were no longer just sitting ducks waiting for something bad to unfold. They were fighters, strategists poised to counter the darkness creeping into their lives. Anger transformed into action. Angela could feel it swirling around her, a tempest of energy ready to be unleashed. We'll need evidence, Carter added, his eyes scanning the room. Something undeniable that shows their true face. Another team member, Leo, stepped forward. I have some contacts who can access the systems they use. Once we infiltrate, we can gather intel that'll expose everything. That's it. Angela said, a spark lighting up her features. The more they discussed, the more hope swelled in her chest. Let us not just act. Let us act smart. We need to make them underestimate us. They formulated a plan, as the hours dwindled into the early morning. The coffee shop buzz faded into the background, it was all chatter and ideas flowing in a wave of creativity and purpose. Among the laughter, there was a steady rhythm of fear yet determination, a humorous quip followed by a serious remark, bonding them closer than they ever imagined. Without warning, the conversation took an unexpected turn when a sudden power outage darkened the shop. For an instant, panic threatened to creep in, but Angela's voice pierced through the shroud of shadow. This is just like the world we're fighting against, ever-changing and unpredictable. We can use this to our advantage. She knew they couldn't let fear overpower their mission. The lights flickered back to life, and the buzzing atmosphere resumed. But as they pushed forward with the plan, Angela's instincts began to scream. Were they moving too quickly? Would the underestimated power of their adversary catch them off guard? As they finalized their approach, Carter turned to her, his expression a mixture of excitement and deep-seated worry. If we fail, what happens then? Angela took a deep breath, meeting his gaze. We won't fail. We can't. Not now. But even as she spoke the words, a part of her trembled at the unspoken truth that loomed ominously over them. The meeting concluded with a mixture of hope and apprehension. They stepped out into the cold night, the air crisp and electric, but the weight of their mission weighed heavily on them. Each step felt like a leap into the unknown, confidence faltering like the muted glow of streetlights that flickered in and out. As the group dispersed, Angela couldn't shake the feeling that they were dancing on a razor's edge. Deep down, she sensed that what lay ahead would change everything. Would they be able to tip the scales against their adversaries, or was this just the beginning of a larger storm brewing beneath the surface? They had awakened something deep within. As she drifted home, her thoughts spiraling in myriad directions, Angela wondered how far were they willing to go? Would they be ready for what came next? Would her courage be enough to save not just Carter, but a community longing for salvation? Angela lay in bed that night, wide awake. The shadows in her room seemed to twist and turn in the dim light. The weight of their plans pressed heavily on her chest. She tried to calm herself with deep breaths, but the tension still buzzed beneath her skin. What would happen when they inevitably faced off against their enemies? As the clock ticked softly in the background, her mind floated back to Carter's worried face. If we fail, what happens then? The question echoed, piercing through the layers of her thoughts. She never wanted to entertain thoughts of failure, especially not now. They were stepping into a battlefield where they were outmatched, yet their determination surged like wildfire within her. Just as she thought of the day ahead, her phone buzzed on the bedside table. She reached for it, almost half expecting another threat to spring to life on the screen. Instead, It was a message from Leo, meeting everyone tomorrow, 9 a.m. Focus on gathering intel. Can't wait to see what we've dug up. A small sigh of relief escaped her lips. They were in this together. She could do this. Morning came all too quickly, the sun breaking through the curtains with harsh rays that seemed to cast light on her doubts. Angela quickly got dressed, a gut instinct telling her that today was not just another day. High stakes loomed ahead, and she needed to be sharp. As she walked into the cafe where they had positioned themselves as a symbol of hope and resistance, the team was buzzing with nervous energy. Everyone was present, leaning in close to share updates. Carter was at the helm, clearly brimming with an adrenaline-fueled drive. She could see the fire in his eyes. "All right, team," he announced, grateful yet apprehensive smiles exchanging all around. "We've gathered a lot since last night. Leo, what do you have?" Leo stepped forward, his face serious, and laid out his findings. "I managed to tap into some of their communications. They're planning to strike against us next week. They have a public relations push they're executing that could turn the community against us. We have to counteract this before it gains traction." Angela felt a surge of anger at the thought of their efforts being undermined. "What's the plan? We can't let them control the narrative." Mariah jumped in, her energy infectious. "We can launch a counter-campaign. If we can get our message out first, use the community's voice as our shield, we might turn the tides." The idea hung in the air. Hope began to build again, fresh and stunning. They needed to galvanize not just their team but the community around them. "Let us reach out to the supporters we've already built. The ones who trust us," Angela said. "They need to hear from all of us, not just individuals. A united front." A ripple of agreement rolled through the group, but Angela was acutely aware that though their ideas were powerful, the clock was ticking. They had to move quickly and smartly. As the meeting progressed, they felt momentum building. Ideas flew, faces lit up with excitement, ready to take on the challenge head-on. It felt exhilarating, like standing at the edge of a vast frontier about to burst forth into an exciting adventure. But Angela couldn't shake the familiar knot in her stomach. Was it too much? Would they be overtaken before they even had a chance? By the time they wrapped up, her palms were sweaty, her heart racing at the thought of what lay ahead. They needed to act fast, but a seed of doubt wormed its way into her thoughts. Just as they were about to step out into the world again, Carter caught her gaze. "We're going to do this, right?" he asked, eyes searching. Angela took a deep breath, steeling her resolve. "Yes. We will." At that very moment, she realized she couldn't just be courageous for her sake, it was for everyone who believed in them too. As they headed out, the chill of the wind reminded her that resistance was never easy, and it never promised safety. They were heading into the unknown, and somehow, that was both thrilling and terrifying all at once. How far would they go now, and was it enough to change the tide? Each step felt as if it carried the weight of possibility, both brilliant and daunting. The stakes had never felt higher. Angela couldn't shake the question: would they rise to meet the challenge, or would they fall against the forces of darkness that seemed ever-present? The cafe buzzed with energy, yet Angela felt a sense of fracture within herself. She stepped outside, where the wind bit at her cheeks, and pulled her jacket tightly around her. Time was slipping away, and with it, the chance to mount their defense. The streets were alive with people going about their daily lives, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing. It struck her as both comforting and upsetting. How could they not see the impending crisis? Carter was at her side, glancing at her with a mix of encouragement and concern. "You all right?" he asked, voice low enough that no one else could hear. Angela forced a smile, though it felt strained. "Yeah, just thinking. We can't let them trap us. We need to make our voices heard, loud and clear." "Then let's go," he replied, determination sparking in his eyes. They walked together, the weight of their mission pushing them forward. As they reached their first destination, the local community center, they were greeted by familiar faces, some puzzled, some eager, all needing a reason to come together again. Angela's heart raced as she stood before them. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice steadying as she spoke. "I know many of you have supported us in our journey. But we are facing something unprecedented, a reality that threatens to tear us apart." The crowd quieted, eyes locked on her. She could sense their anticipation, their hope. "We learned today that our adversaries have a plan to manipulate the narrative against us. We've got to counteract it together. We deserve to be heard, and we can't let fear silence our voices." Murmurs rippled through the audience, spark ignited in some faces, uncertainty fighting to pull others back. Angela pressed on, her conviction growing stronger. "We need to stand together and show them our strength. We've built a community, let us fight for it." Someone in the crowd shouted, "What can we do?" The question hung there, heavy yet electrifying. Angela took a breath, the moment ripe with possibilities. "Join us. Share your stories, spread the word. Hold conversations over dinner, talk to your neighbors. Every voice matters." Excitement swelled, and slowly, hands started going up. Ideas flew back and forth, each one reflecting their shared passion. She felt her energy rise in tandem with theirs, a shared heartbeat ignited by a single spark. Just then, a familiar face stepped forward, Leo, a bit out of breath but brimming with enthusiasm. "Everyone's on board. We have a meeting tonight with the planning committee. They want in." Angela felt the heat of optimism wash over her, but the knot in her stomach persisted. "That's great, Leo. But we still need to ensure that this momentum doesn't fade. We need strategies, not just enthusiasm." Carter nodded, adding, "We should split up and reach out to the contacts we have. Let them know the game has changed. We need to rally everyone to counteract their narrative." The response from the group was immediate. They all stood, excited chatter filling the air, strategizing and forming teams spontaneously. The sense of unity enveloped her, transforming doubt into action. But as Angela looked around, a shadow flickered in her mind. What if their efforts weren't enough? Would a united front hold against the well-oiled machine that was their enemy? Just as she was about to speak again, her phone buzzed furiously in her pocket. Fumbling, she pulled it out, her heart racing when she saw the notification. A video link from an anonymous source. Carter caught the look in her eyes. "What is it?" She opened the link, a chill running down her spine as the video started to play. The whispers, the rumors, the twisting truths, it all converged into a single message meant to fracture everything they were fighting for. The room quieted again as voices faded, only the sound of disdainful laughter echoed from the screen, an enemy mocking them. Angela swallowed hard. Their battle was more intense than she could imagine. But in that moment, she felt a resolve grow within her. "We'll come back stronger. Together, we can face whatever this is." As the screen flashed horror, a question loomed in her mind: would they find a way to outsmart them, or would this be the crack that split them apart? The answer felt just out of reach, yet closer than ever. The fight had truly begun. The room was heavy with silence, tension wrapping around them like a thick fog. Angela's gaze remained locked on the screen, the taunting laughter ricocheting off the walls of the community center. It set her nerves on edge like a swarm of angry bees buzzing just beneath her skin. "What do we do?" Someone murmured from the back, a flicker of fear threading through the crowd once more. Their earlier enthusiasm now felt fragile, wavering on the edge of uncertainty. It reminded her of a candle flickering in a gusty wind. Angela swallowed, trying to gather strength from deep within. "This only proves they're scared of us. We're making waves," she declared, her voice rising to counter the doubt. "The enemy doesn't mock the weak. They laugh at the strong, hoping to break us. A ripple of determination spread through the crowd as heads nodded in agreement. She could feel that shift, a collective inhale, as if they were all bracing for what was to come. Carter leaned in closer, his voice earnest. "We have to strategize. We need our stories to demonstrate our strength. They want to show us as divided, but we stand together, our voices are powerful." Nodding, Angela felt a tiny spark of hope in her chest. "Yes. We can gather personal testimonies. Let each of us share our truths. They want to erase us. Let us turn that narrative upside down. This community matters, and each voice adds to our strength." The plan took shape quickly. Some members broke off into smaller groups, while others eagerly began gathering materials, signs, pamphlets, and flyers to spread the word. Enthusiasm surged around her, a wave of defiance that felt like home. As the meeting progressed, Angela couldn't shake the lingering worry. The video's effect was pervasive, it clawed at her thoughts. What if it stirs up more hostility? She whispered to Carter, her voice shaking. What if this becomes war? He reached for her hand, his grip steady and reassuring. Then we fight. But we fight smart. We can't let fear rule us. We need to keep our focus on the truth. Angela took a deep breath, nodding as she let that idea settle in. Their truth was their power. When the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden hue through the windows, a sense of purpose blanketed the center. Their gathering morphed into a collective mission, a beacon of light against the dark turbulence brewing outside. Suddenly, a knock broke through their preparations. The door swung open, and two police officers stepped in, faces stern and professional. Gasps followed. Fear gripped some members of the group, eyes darting around, but Angela stood tall, heart thudding in her chest. What are they doing here? Someone whispered anxiously. Carter moved beside her, whispering, "Let us see what they want." The officers scanned the room, then one of them spoke up. "We're here because of a report about your meeting. We need to ask some questions." It felt like the tension made manifest, a heavy weight pressing down. Angela stepped forward, her voice steady, even as her heart raced. "We have every right to gather here. We're fighting for our community." One officer nodded slowly, considering, but the other's expression remained unyielding. "We need to ensure you're complying with local regulations. There have been complaints." Angela felt a knot tighten in her stomach. The system was already pushing back against them, and the battle had barely begun. It was more than just an adversary, it was the very authority meant to protect them now casting suspicion. The crowd shifted, a wave of anxiety threatening to pull them under again. Angela caught Carter's eye, and they shared a silent promise: they would not be intimidated. "Complying with the law is not our concern right now," she declared, her voice unwavering. "We're here to support each other. This community will not be silenced." But in her heart, doubt wafted like smoke, obscuring the clear path ahead. Would standing firm be enough? As the officers conferred quietly, Angela's phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with another anonymous message. She glanced down and her breath hitched. This one felt ominous, like a storm warning. "Carter," she whispered urgently, desperation creeping in. "What now?" With the future hanging in the balance, she realized they were at a precipice: either they would rise above or fall apart. The answer was slipping through her fingers, and all she could do was grasp onto hope as tightly as she could. But could hope withstand the weight of fear? Angela felt a chill as she read the message: "You're making a mistake. It won't end well for you." The words were cold, calculated, and it struck her like a slap in the face. She had hoped the social media storm would bring them together, not turn into a personal attack. "What's it say?" Carter asked, concern etched on his brow. "Just another threat. They're trying to intimidate us." Her voice wavered, but she forced herself to hold his gaze. "I won't let them." Before either could say more, one officer approached them. We can't have this going on without a safety plan in place. You're raising a lot of emotions here, and we need to keep everyone safe." His tone softened just a tad, as if trying to reach out without crossing a line. "How safe do you think we feel right now?" Angela shot back, feeling the heat rising. "You work for a system that puts our lives on the line. We're not the threats here." "You need to be cooperative," the other officer interjected sharply, crossing his arms. "We are looking out for all involved, and that includes your gathering." Angela glanced at the members in the room. Faces filled with worry, and their confidence seemed to waver alongside hers. They were looking to her for guidance. She could almost hear their thoughts. What now? "We'll comply, but we will not back down. We are standing together. This community matters." She stressed every word, trying to ignite that spark of rage and determination they had just moments ago. "Teamwork is beautiful, but if you don't play by the rules," one officer warned, before turning away. As they left the community center, Angela could feel the air crackle with unspoken worries. Carter leaned closer. "That was unnerving, but maybe it's a sign they know we're gaining traction." "Maybe," she replied, but doubt still coiled in her gut. "What if this is just the beginning? We're poking a bear, Carter. A really angry one." He shook his head, cutting through her gloom. "This is our community. If we don't fight now, we'll lose everything. Let us come up with a plan. I know some people in the media. We might be able to turn this into an opportunity." A small smile tugged at her lips as she mulled over the idea. Media exposure could rally even more support, but it also brought risks. What if they twist our words? "We control the narrative. We show everyone who we are," Carter insisted. Before she could reply, her phone buzzed again. Angela looked down, her heart racing. The message was from someone familiar and unexpected. It could be a lifeline, or it could lead to more danger. "Carter, this is from Maya. She says she has intel that could help us." The hope in her voice was almost palpable. "Then let us get it." His enthusiasm was infectious, and for a moment, Angela felt a glimmer of possibility, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. The weight of fear hung just overhead, but it was now accompanied by the thrill of potential. They were no longer simply defending themselves, they were fighting back, unwilling to bow. As they prepared to leave the center, Angela felt the thrill of purpose igniting within her. But just as they turned for the door, a loud crash echoed from the back of the hall, followed by muffled voices. What was that? Angela's heart pounded in her chest. Together, they instinctively moved toward the sound, ready to face the unknown, ready to stand firm. Was this a challenge or a test? She couldn't be sure, but there was no turning back now. As they rounded the corner, the truth loomed, just out of sight, waiting to unfold, and she felt the adrenaline surge. What awaited them could make or break everything they had built. With every step, the battle for their community felt more real than ever. But would they be ready for what was waiting for them in the dark? Angela's breath caught in her throat as they rounded the corner. The scene unfolded swiftly before her eyes. A group of community members, faces pale with fear, surrounded a toppled table that had clearly been used in their meetings. Papers and flyers scattered across the floor like fallen leaves in an autumn storm. "Get back!" one voice shouted, a mixture of anger and fear. Angela squinted, spotting Ezra at the center of the chaos, his face red with anger as he confronted two masked figures. They were backed against a wall, keeping a safe distance but clearly ready to lash out if pressed. The tension was palpable, thick enough to slice with a knife. "What are you doing here?" Ezra demanded, his voice strong but shaking. "You think you can just threaten us like this?" Carter instinctively placed a hand on Angela's back, urging her to stay close. "We need to help him," he whispered. "Wait," Angela replied, her eyes narrowing. "Let us see what they want. We have to know why they're here." As if sensing her thoughts, one of the masked figures stepped forward, his voice an unsettling mix of mockery and menace. "This is your last warning. You've stirred up a hornet's nest. Walk away before it gets worse." Ezra scowled, poking a finger toward the towering figure. "No one is backing down, not now. We deserve to be heard." Angela felt a surge of pride for Ezra. It was a testament to the spirit of their community, the defiance to stand firm in the face of intimidation. But the masked figure only laughed, a cold and hollow sound that echoed in the tense hall. "You don't get it. This isn't just a warning. It's a promise. Things will happen if you keep going." He motioned to the second figure, who discreetly adjusted a bulky backpack slung over his shoulder. "I'm calling the police," someone shouted from the back, voice trembling. Angela could feel her heart racing. Would the arrival of law enforcement help or further escalate the situation? Cops had already shown their ineffectiveness earlier. "We can't let fear win," she said, her voice rising above the murmurs. "What you're doing is wrong. This community is strong, and we won't back down because of threats." The masked figures exchanged glances, the weight of her words hitting them harder than they anticipated. Angela could see the brief flicker of uncertainty in their body language. "People like you have no idea what you're getting into," the first figure warned, taking a step back as if reassessing the situation. "This isn't just about you. What happens next is on your hands and may not be what you expect." Carter's grip on Angela tightened as she stepped forward, belief surging in her veins. "We're not afraid of you. We're here to protect our community." And just like that, the energy shifted. The crowd behind Angela began to murmur support, sensing the tide turning. Whispers of encouragement coursed through the air, growing louder, more unified. "Together. Together." But before anyone could react, the second masked figure lunged forward, pulling away the flap of the backpack and revealing something that sent an icy wave through the room, an ominous weapon. Angela's heart froze. What had started as a challenge was spiraling into a life-or-death situation. She glanced at Carter, his eyes wide but resolute, ready for anything. "Run!" she yelled out, instinctively shouting to the crowd. But was it too late? Too much had already happened. As the tension crackled in the air, the line between fear and action blurred ominously. Would they fight or flee? In that electrifying moment, all her plans and hopes hinged on a choice yet to be made. For Angela, the battle wasn't just for their community anymore, it was for survival itself. Would she protect what was dear to her, or watch it slip away into the dark? All around her, the chaos threatened to erupt as the first blow landed. The line had been crossed, now they were in the fight for their lives. And with that realization, Angela's fear transformed into a fierce determination. But as the sound of sirens echoed in the distance, would help arrive in time? The crowd erupted into chaos, bodies surging forward and backward like waves crashing against the shore. Angela dug her heels into the ground, her heart racing, urging everyone to find shelter. A desperate cry pierced her ears as a voice broke through the panic. "Get down!" The figure with the weapon aimed it toward Ezra. In that moment, for Angela, time slowed. She could see the sweat glistening on Ezra's brow, his fists clenched tightly at his sides, resolute despite the impending danger. She wanted to scream, to jump in front of him and shield him from harm, but fear had tangled her limbs like vines. "Stop!" Angela yelled, her voice somehow breaking through the clamor. "You don't have to do this." The masked figure paused, a fraction of uncertainty flickering behind the dark fabric covering his face. Did he hear the quaver in her words? This was a gamble, but desperate times called for desperate measures. "You're outnumbered," Carter shouted, stepping forward, fists raised, protecting Angela both physically and emotionally. "Put it down and walk away." More members of the community began to emerge, drawing strength from each other. Angela could feel the collective courage building behind her. Their faces were grim yet determined, a powerful reminder that they wouldn't back down. The figure with the weapon chuckled, a low, chilling sound. "You think numbers matter? You don't know who you're messing with." His grip on the weapon tightened, the metal gleaming dangerously in the flickering fluorescent light. Angela swallowed hard, fighting to keep her voice steady. "We just want to be heard. You don't need to resort to violence. Just talk to us. We can find common ground." Suddenly, something shifted. One of the masked figures exchanged a glance with his partner, a subtle shift that flicked a glimmer of hope in Angela's direction. Perhaps they weren't as impervious as they seemed. But then things escalated again. The weapon jerked upward, and the crowd gasped, the air thick with dread. A shot rang out, ricocheting off the walls, sending everyone diving for cover. Angela felt a hard shove from a body behind her, pushing her to the ground just as the world seemed to shatter around them. She pressed her face to the cold floor, breathing raggedly, the echo of the gunshot still ringing in her ears. Carter landed beside her, instinctively shielding her with his body. He looked at her, his eyes wide with fear, yet there was a flicker of fierce resolve there too. "Stay low," he whispered with urgency. A flash of movement caught Angela's eye. In the chaos, someone was sweeping in Ezra, dodging and weaving through the scattering crowd, pushing toward the masked figure once more. "You can't silence us," he shouted, his voice a vibrant beacon amidst the desolation. But uncertainty loomed. Would this act of bravery lead him to glory or to ruin? Angela's heart thudded as she saw the masked figure recalibrating, readying himself to react. "Ezra, no!" she screamed, pushing herself off the floor, desperate to intervene. But before she could reach him, the air crackled with a new intensity, a disarming sound unlike anything else. The unmistakable wail of sirens finally pierced through the cacophony, their blaring sirens racing closer. Would their arrival turn the tide or plunge them deeper into chaos? "Support's coming." That same voice rang out from the back of the hall, hope igniting amongst the crowd once more. But Angela knew they couldn't solely rely on the police. They had to stand firm, united, even smarter now, as the masked figures recalibrated under the weight of their desperation. All eyes were now on Ezra. Would he press on? Or would this moment of bravery become a pivotal turning point? The stakes rose with each breath, and Angela refused to lose sight of what was at hand: her community, her hope, her strength. As the two worlds collided, the chaotic bravery of community and the looming threat, would Angela help change the narrative? Or would they only find themselves further entangled in this dark web of intimidation? And in the seconds that followed, everything could change. Angela's chest heaved, her heart pounding like a war drum. She could hardly believe the chaos unfurling around her. The tension in the air was thick, it had morphed into something tangible, something they all could feel pressing down on them. She looked desperately at Carter, the fear reflected in his eyes echoing her own. "Stay down," he urged again, pulling her low as more voices battled the air, drowning in anger and confusion. Chaos hummed like an electric current charging the atmosphere, but Angela's heart found rhythm in the sense of community rising around her. The sirens wailed closer, loud and unrelenting. And just as Angela feared they'd abandon their chance to rise, Ezra shouted defiantly, "You think this is about us? You don't know what you've stirred up." The masked figure hesitated, momentarily thrown off by Ezra's courage. For just a split second, the weapon wavered, and Angela seized that moment. "We are united," she cried, her voice piercing through the tumult. "This community will not fall apart. You cannot scare us into silence." In a heartbeat, the other members of the community echoed her rallying cry, raising their voices in unison. Each shout wove through the chaos together. "We won't back down. We matter." As their voices soared higher, the masked figures glared, uncertainty flickering in their eyes, revealing cracks in their facade of intimidation. But then, the heavy thud of the approaching police vehicles cut through the light chatter, echoing like a heartbeat in the silence that followed. Angela watched as the figures exchanged frantic glances, their bravado crumbling in the face of reality. "Don't get any funny ideas. We won't hesitate," one warned, voice shaking slightly, the dark mask slipping from the confidence it once held. Carter took a slow step forward, hand raised in both placation and resolve. "Put it down. There's no need for violence. Your threats will not work here." His voice echoed with authority, calling back to every moment of raw authenticity shared in the space. Then, something remarkable happened. The packed audience didn't look away from him. Eyes locked in solidarity, hearts beating in perfect tumultuous rhythm, they stood together. Angela felt the weight of those adjoining hearts, fear intermingled with courage spun into something unstoppable. The tensions in the room reverberated in unwavering energy as the masked figures began to retreat, sheer horror painting their features. They were unprepared for the spirit of resilience that persisted before them. "What's wrong with you?" Ezra challenged, emboldened by the crowd's support, taking a daring step forward once more. "You think intimidation will scare us? You know what we've built? You can't tear it down." Just then, the sirens pulled up, flashing blue and red lights visible through the windows. Two officers emerged, accompanied by a squad of community members whom Angela hadn't realized had come to support them. Among them was Maya, waving a sign that read "United We Stand," plastered across it in vibrant colors. The masked figures, realizing their advantage dissipating like sand through fingers, turned tail and bolted, arms pumping as they fled the room. The sight sent a flood of relief through Angela, causing her to exhale slowly. She felt a weight lift as voices in the room escalated from uncertain whispers into triumphant cheers. "Maya!" Angela shouted as the crowd embraced their ally. "Angela! I can't believe you're okay." Maya wrapped her arms tightly around her, joyous and relieved. "I got here just in time." A rush of gratitude surged through Angela, but before she could process it, her heart was pounding with exhilaration. The community pressed in, ears tuned toward each other. Ezra turned to the group, still buzzing in animated chatter. "This is only the beginning. We've proved we're powerful. No one should silence us." The officers glanced at the crowd, uncertain of how to approach the situation they had stumbled into. "Thank you for standing up," one officer said, tentatively stepping in. "But you need to comply with safety regulations," Carter interrupted, stepping closer with newfound authority. "We were standing for our rights as citizens, for our community. You must understand the risks we face just existing within these walls." Far from cowering, the group rallied around his words, fed by the energy of defiance burning brightly. Angela watched, pride swelling within her as the raw vulnerability morphed into an unwavering shield. The officers exchanged glances, realizing the unity before them. They began listening, really listening, as explanations unfolded. Angela's voice cut clear through the crowd. "We're not just a group afraid to speak, we are a community that seeks connection. We want to work together not against the system but with it." The tension remained, thick with unresolved issues, yet it transformed into open dialogue. People began to challenge the officers gently, discussing their fears, their aspirations, and their resistance against unjust targets. For every fear shared, an echo of vulnerability mixed with courage tethered everyone closer. Slowly, they forged connections within the community, finding common ground where division once stood. Hours flew by. That evening, they sat as one, discussing routes to ensure safety and outreach. The community center transformed into a beacon of hope, every voice gathered, every shared story weaving them together stronger than before. In the end, they realized something remarkable. They weren't bound by fear, no longer tethered to doubt or intimidation. They stood for each other, rooted in their shared experience, strong, unwavering. When the lights dimmed, and the last person filtered out, Angela lingered for just a moment longer. She felt the weight of what had unfolded. "What's next?" Carter asked, standing beside her. A smile broke across her face, radiating warmth. "Next, we rise. Together." Angela knew they would create waves, ride them, and stand tall through it all. They would build a future, turning fear into fortitude, and that relentless spark would light the way forward. And as she headed home under the glow of the stars above, the burdens of yesterday fluttered away like petals on a breeze. Hope as fresh as morning dew bloomed within her heart, a force of nature they had awakened. This wasn't just a victory, it was a call to humanity. So, if you felt the power in this story, now is the time to act. You need to subscribe now to catch incredible transformations like this in future stories. Don't wait not even one more second to share this journey with your friends. Hit that like button to feed the algorithm and let your voice join the chorus of hope. Comment below with your reactions. How did this story move you? This is the moment to show your support. Your actions matter. Together, let us keep the spirit of change alive.